here. Hello, my name is Eric Gredonia. I'm one of the assistant deans of admission here at Hamilton College. I'm so excited to have you join us here on our panel to learn more about the opportunity programs here at Hamilton. I first and foremost want to say congratulations to all of you as admitted students. I also know that a number of our students coming in today have deposited, so we will be seeing you in the summer and in the fall, but I'm just so excited that you're spending your evening with us to learn more about our special community. The goal for tonight is really to know more about the opportunity program. We know that all of you have a bunch of questions, and there's things like logistics and resources and just overall support that you have here at Hamilton. So what better way to have those questions answered than meeting some of your fellow OP students on campus and our director. So I'm going to go ahead and let our panelists introduce themselves. First, we'll start with Aaron Ray, and then we'll go on to Alex and then Joanna. Aaron, take it away.
All right, happy Tuesday, good evening or afternoon, depending on where you are. My name is Aaron Ray. I use he, him pronouns, and I am the director of the opportunity programs.
Hi, everybody. My name is Alex. I'm a first year here at Hamilton. I'm from Brooklyn, New York. For my major, I'm still undecided, but probably looking for a major in literature with a minor in geoscience and econ. And then some things that I'm involved in here on campus. I'm on the varsity rowing team. I work in state off programming, which is like how we put events on for students on campus. And I'm also in the student assembly. Thanks.
Hi, everyone. My name is Joanna Flores. I use she, her pronouns, and I'm a sophomore here at Hamilton. I'm from Queens, New York, as another sibling borough. I am majored in government, and I'm considering to double minor in bio and women and gender studies. And some activities I do on campus is, well, I'm on the Hamilton mock trial team. I work at the HEOP office as an assistant, so my face will very surely be familiar. I am also, I'm the co-chair of the Center for Intersectional Feminism, which is part of the Days Masala Center. And I think that's pretty much what I do. I feel there's other things I'm missing, but thank you all for joining.
Yeah. Well, thank you, Aaron. Thank you, Alex. Thank you, Joanna, for joining us tonight. And thank you to all of you again for coming. We know that you could be doing anything else on a Tuesday evening. We decided to join us here virtually and learn more about Hamilton and the OP program. So super excited for all of you to be here. To give an overview of how the evening's going to go, we'll try to get to as many questions as possible. Thank you to those who have submitted them already. But if you have any questions, please feel free to use the Q&A function down at the bottom. Our Dean of Admission, Valdez, is behind the scenes and more than happy to answer any questions that we don't get to tonight during our panel. But again, if you have any questions, please feel free to use us as a resource. We'll try to get to as many as possible, but if we do not get to your question tonight, you can also submit them to admission@hamilton.edu, and we'll be more than happy to respond that way as well. But without further ado, we're going to go ahead and get started. We have a bunch of questions to learn more about Hamilton, opportunity programs, all that good stuff. But for all my panelists, my first question for you, when thinking about the college search process, why did you choose Hamilton? We'll go ahead and start with our student panelists. And then, for Aaron, why did you choose to join this community? Joanna, do you want to start us off? Why did you choose Hamilton?
Yeah, so, wow, it's been such a long time. But I remember when I was choosing all the colleges I was going to apply to, I remember I wanted a small community. I didn't want a large community, a large campus, because I really wanted to get to know my classmates, my professors, especially. Because I was thinking way ahead of time. I was like, if I need recommendations for anything, I need to know that I know my professor really well. And that's actually one of the big reasons why I chose Hamilton, because I wanted that close-knit community and I wanted to meet my professors and get to know them and for them to get to know me and who I am. So yeah, that's why I chose Hamilton.
Yeah, awesome, Joanna. Yeah, and thinking about small community, right? That's such a big reason why students end up choosing our college, right? So I'm glad that you've been able to find that here. Alex, why did you choose Hamilton?
Yeah, so my high school had this college choice software called Naviance, where you put in every nitpicky thing that you want in a school, down to if they have vegetarian options or literally everything that you could ever imagine. And Hamilton was genuinely a 100% match for me. So I was like, you know what? The stars are aligning here. I must apply. but also just like in general, the open curriculum for sure was very appealing. And just like the variety of resources that are available at Hamilton, like Alex advisors, your faculty advisors, like what Joanna was saying, like you get so close to your professors here and to the staff, and to like just anybody who you want to know is always open and friendly and welcome to know you. So definitely those things.
And I think you're hearing from both students, right? That community is just such a core tenet to the culture. You know, we really want students looking for that community. So Aaron, why did you choose to join this community?
Yeah, so I had previously worked at an institution in their opportunity program office and was really happy there, but I was familiar with the previous director at Hamilton, and she had announced at a meeting that she was planning to retire. And I was like, Hamilton. And I started doing my research, and they had just started this new initiative, Alex, the Advise, Learn, and Experience. And I thought that was really intriguing. And then I saw that they have an oral communication center. And I was like, what even is that? Like how much resource rich is Hamilton if they have an oral communication center? So really it was the oral communication center that sold me on Hamilton, but it was also the rich history of HEOP and opportunity programs at Hamilton, which has been around for over 50 years.
Yeah, no, totally. And thinking about the Oral Communication Center, right? Communication is a core or cornerstone value that we have here on our campus. And we're actually one of 2 liberal arts colleges in the entire country to have an Oral Communication Center. And that's a resource that's available to all students, staff, and faculty. I've actually had members of the admissions team use the Oral Communication Center. So it's a popular thing here on our campus. And Aaron, we're so excited that you've joined our community. I'm going to throw this next question to you. Can you just give us a brief overview of the program, starting with the summer program, and then what can students expect, especially for students who are not familiar with the program, about what HEOP and OP is all about?
Yeah, sure. So one important thing to know is opportunity programs is really an umbrella for 2 programs. So there's HEOP, also known as HEOP, that is partially state funded through New York State. And so students who are in HEOP are from the state of New York. And then we have the Hamilton Scholars, which is like a sister or sibling program to HEOP, but it's completely funded through Hamilton College. So students can be from New York, or they can be from anywhere in the world. Collectively, we're known as OP. Students who are in OP, HEOP students, a lot of students like to call themselves HEOP, even if they're from California. So it really doesn't matter. Like, the label doesn't matter. We're in this program together. The thing that students know most about from their time in the program is the summer program. It's also the thing that I think most students on this Zoom right now are wondering about. What is this 5-week summer program? So it is an intensive academic summer program. I see looks from my students. They're like, oh yeah, intensive. It's a 5-week summer program where students will have the opportunity to take classes with Hamilton College faculty. They will get to live in a res hall together with other classmates. They will get to know the various resources that exist on campus. They'll know the campus like the back of their hand. They will truthfully have the opportunity to move into their rooms before any other students in the incoming class. So that is a nice perk. But the summer program is designed to help students get acclimated to Hamilton's expectations, right? Like for a lot of our students, everyone who gets into Hamilton is a really talented student. But for our students, sometimes either the high school that they came from, the academic expectations aren't on par with what Hamilton professors have. So students go through the summer program and they learn firsthand what professors expect in terms of class participation, right? You can't just sit in the back of class and not participate at Hamilton. They learn what the expectations are for writing, for doing research. And students, when they finish the program, the goal is for them to feel confident utilizing the resources on campus, feel confident going to professors' office hours, and feel comfortable in the community that they've developed during those 5 weeks. Now, the summer program is only 5 weeks long. You are in the program throughout your entire time at Hamilton. So we place a lot of emphasis on the summer program, but really it's just the starting point for your 4-year journey at Hamilton.
Yeah. Thank you, Aaron. And that's really, the goal of this program, right? To help that transition, especially during your first year, and then as you navigate those 4 years. I also know that students had questions about traveling to campus, housing during the summer program, financial assistance. Aaron, can you speak to those things a little bit? Just like what do all of those logistics look like?
Sure. Yeah, and students will receive more information shortly after May 1st once we know who is deciding to join us this summer. But we'll cover the cost of transportation. So whether you're coming from California or you're coming from Utica, we will cover the cost of transportation. So if you're flying, we'll purchase the flight. If you're coming from somewhere in the Northeast, we'll reimburse for mileage. And if you need a bus or train ticket, we'll cover that cost as well. Our goal this summer is for everyone to live in Eels. Eels is one of the rest halls that, yes, very exciting, that upper class students typically live in, but it has a lot of really good community space, and that's going to be a very big focus this summer, is about building community, because yes, the academics are challenging and rigorous at Hamilton, but it's really important to have a strong foundation in community to be successful. So we've picked Eels. Those rooms are either doubles or singles. The only way we won't be in Eels is if we over enroll significantly and there's not enough rooms, and then we might have to move to a different res hall. But the goal is for Eels. So you will have a roommate, and we will match students based on preferences. Are you a night person, a morning person? Are you neat, messy, or in between? All those fun characteristics. And all supplies. There really is no expense for students. Like, meals are covered. You'll be eating in the dining hall this summer. If we go on an excursion on the weekend, meals will be covered. So there really is no out-of-pocket expenses for students.
Awesome. We love the sound of that. Thank you, Aaron. Thank you. Thank you. We're going to go back to our student panelists, and, we definitely want to hear about student experiences. And so for Alex and Joanna, we would love to know, can you share some of the highlights of your participation in the summer program? And were there any difficulties, challenges that you had transitioning to this new experience after you graduated from high school?
I guess I could start. Definitely the highlight is just like meeting all of these wonderful new people who you're going to spend the rest of your 4 years here with at Hamilton. But one particular moment that kind of stands out is we had like a pop-up talent show out of nowhere. And my 3 roommates and we did like a 3-song ensemble of Hamilton. Like, we did a dance, we did a song and stuff. We ended up getting like best team players, but it was really a lot of fun. Yeah. And then to speak to the difficulties, I think that coming from like a whole year of senior, like remote, like COVID year was really difficult to like transition into like fully being in person, like learning how to be present in the classroom again, and just going through the motions of like relearning what it is to be a student in the actual classroom was pretty challenging, but you get through it.
Yeah, especially with the support of your fellow OP peers and colleagues. Joanna, what about you? Can you give us some highlights? Can you also talk about some of the difficulties you had transitioning out of high school?
Absolutely. Yeah. So one of my favorite highlights is you get like professors during the summer who are going to teach a course. And I had the fortunate experience to hear from Professor Johnson, who was a government professor here at Hamilton. And she mentioned that one of her works was cited by the Queen, Ruth Bader Ginsburg, who's a Supreme Court justice. And to me, that was like, I am at a great school. I came here because I want to go to law school. And to me, that was just like reaffirming my beliefs, and also just seeing a woman of color who's a professor and in the field that I want to be part of. I just remember that day being like, I love the school. And I am now also fortunate to have her as my advisor here at Hamilton. So I work with her very closely now. So that was one of my favorite highlights from HEOP. And then a difficulty, well, when I was transitioning, it was during the whole COVID pandemic, and everything was in quarantine, and there was all of that chaos. And I mean, it still very is present today. And so I think for me, it was the transition between, not being isolated in my house, taking classes online, and not really getting to know people. And so it was hard for me a bit to like really like, oh, now I'm seeing faces, I'm no longer by myself in the Zoom box. So I mean, thankfully with the help of HEOP, like I really got to meet one of my closest friends, but like that was a tough challenge, you know, going from online to like in-person events.
Yeah, totally. And that makes sense because I think, the pandemic has really isolated people. And in that, I think the silver lining of the pandemic, if there's anything that came out of it, was that eagerness and almost hunger for community, right? So I think, these most recent cohorts that exist on campus now are excited to welcome this new incoming class and, just to embrace that community as fully as we can, like we would do pre-pandemic time. So thank you, Alex. Thank you, Joanna, for that. Moving on, I know that in the summer program, there's a lot of, hard work that you're doing to acclimate to the academics here on campus, but there's also some really fun things that happen. So I know that typically over the summer, there are some excursions that happen, during the program. Alex, Joanna, can you speak to some of the things that happen over the summer? What kinds of programs or excursions, are students getting excited about? Can you just share with us a sampling of what that looks like?
Yeah. Oh, sorry. I can. I wish I did have the experience. I unfortunately not because of COVID, but I think Alex can speak it, and if not, Aaron. Yeah.
Yeah, there was like every weekend of the 5-week program, we had like a little fun pop-up activity. Sometimes they came up as surprises. Sometimes we kind of had the in on it from our tutors. But one thing that I remember was we went camping out in the Colgate woods, and that was with like a bunch of 2B orientation leaders. And we did like camp games. We roasted marshmallows, like somebody brought a guitar, so we did like a whole OP class karaoke session, which was really fun. And I also remember we went to a water park. That day was really, really cold. Welcome to Central New York, but it was still a lot of fun, and it's a great way to bond with the people who you're here with outside of academics.
Yeah, that's awesome. And I'm getting jealous now. I want to be part of the summer program now too. That sounds like a lot of fun. Aaron, this next question is for you. We know that, things that make Hamilton super unique are things like open curriculum and Alex program and all that good stuff. So can you talk about some of the advising resources that are available to students during the program and then also as they begin their 4 years after the program?
Sure. Yeah. So shortly after May 1st, students will receive a registration form that they'll fill out. And then from the information we gather from that, students will actually be assigned to an OP advisor in our office. And you will have OP advising sessions during the summer program just to check in, see how you're getting acclimated, answer questions, talk about stressors or how classes are going. Every student this summer will have a mentor. All of our summer staff members are going to also play the role of mentor. And actually, Alex and Joanna are staff members. So if you're lucky enough, you'll have them as a mentor. If not, they'll still be around to support you. But that's a resource. You mentioned the Alex advisors. I'm actually on the search committee. We're hiring 2 additional Alex advisors in the next couple of weeks. So there will be 5 Alex advisors. You'll have the opportunity to meet with your Alex advisor this summer. You'll meet the Career Center, and so you'll get to meet your career advisor during the summer. So there's lots of advisors. And then by the end of the summer, you'll find out who your academic advisor is, which is a professor in an area of study that you've expressed interest in. So if you're interested in Gov, it will be a professor in the Gov department. If you're interested in math, the math department. Doesn't mean you have to stay with them. Like if you decide after 2 years, oh, I want to be a dance major, great, you'll find a professor within that department. But all the resources that Hamilton has falls under the Alex umbrella. And there's a lot of collaboration, and we have software that we use to make sure that everyone who's working with you stays up on what it is your interests are and your passions are, which ideally makes it really seamless. During the summer, our OP advising is really intense. It's like once every week. During the fall of your freshman year, it's not as intense. We'll check in once every 2 or 3 weeks, or as needed. It could be more. And then as you go to sophomore year, junior year, senior year, the expectation is that you don't have to meet as much, but we're always a resource for our students. And most of us have an open door policy. So if our door's open, and Joanna knows this, you can come on in and hang out. I have a fox leather rocking chair in my office that is very popular with students, very popular.
Nice, nice. And yes, just to reiterate all the things Aaron was saying, right? We really want to make sure that students have all the leverage and all of the support to do really well here academically on campus, right? But outside of those three advisors, academic, career, Alex, you know, you're going to make a number of mentors or meet a number of individuals on campus that are can continue to provide that support, provide that leverage. So we're just excited to be able to have the students to support on campus. So we talked about things like open curriculum, right? I've said that a little bit in the last couple of minutes. So for the students in the room, I would love to know, because sometimes, you know, when we hear open curriculum, we think, wow, that's a lot of freedom, right? That's really liberating. That's really exciting. But then to some students, that can sound a little overwhelming, right? That's a lot of choice that you have for 4 years. So Joanna, Alex, how have you navigated the open curriculum? Can you talk about your experiences in that?
Yeah, so I remember similar to you, like hearing open curriculum, being like, that's a lot of freedom. But I do want to say, like, from my experience, like, I always knew I want to focus on government. But there's also the aspect of like, you don't want to limit yourself to only government classes, that you have the ability of an open curriculum, you know, school like this. And not many schools have this opportunity. And so for me, I was like, whatever, even the smallest interest I may have, I'm going to try a class. I know my first year as a freshman fall, I took Japanese, and I never would have thought of taking Japanese, but I had an interest in it. And I was like, I'm going to continue and pursue that. And so for me to navigate that open curriculum was like, I'm going to take the chance to take classes I would have never taken or may never have the opportunity to take it later on. So that's the way I thought about it. And also just not opening myself up, and you get to learn more about yourself as well. I learned that, you know, I do like, you know, Japanese culture, but the language itself is harder to learn, and maybe not for me. Uh, not to say like I discourage it from anyone else. Like, if you want to do it, pursue it. But for me, like, I learned about what I like and what I don't like as well.
Yeah, awesome. And right, in those first 3 semesters, that's really what it's about, right? Just kind of dipping your toe into all of these different disciplines, and then, you know, getting that liberal arts education that you're so excited about, but also just honing in on the things that do make you excited to keep learning more. Alex, what has your experience been like in the open curriculum?
Yeah, so similarly to Joanna, I came into Hamilton thinking that I was going to be like a straight path gov major. And then after my first gov class, I said, this is not for me. And thank God for the open curriculum, because I was not bound down to take gov for the rest of my 4 years. I could explore my other options. And people always like chuckle at the fact that I say like I'm a lit major and a geo and econ minor, because it's so like, it seems so abstract, but at Hamilton, like that is such a norm. Like I know people who are like neuroscience majors and creative writing minors. Like it's so great to be able to like encapsulate all of your like interest into one thing. And then what's also great about Hamilton is that you always have a resource in your back pocket who's going to help create your direction and your vision for whatever it is that you choose to study. So what's great is like my academic advisor and I meet every semester, and we talk about what I'm planning for my classes, like where I'm thinking to go, because I am so undecided. I'm still a little not sure, dipping my toes into like a bunch of stuff. So we're still setting up like a framework for success where I can still like go forward to like a specific path, but it's really nice and it's really personal too. And I end up like making poems on the letterpress at 9 a.m. And then at 10 a.m. I'm like studying lab samples in the geo lab. So yeah, I really love it.
Yeah, that's awesome. And just to go back to what you were saying, right? A number of students are pursuing a number of areas of study. We have 57 areas of study on our campus. So it's really common for students, you know, to do their major, which maybe takes up 10 to 14 courses over their 4 years. That's about half your time here at Hamilton. So that means the other half of your time, you really do have that flexibility, that freedom, and that choice to take all the classes and all the other disciplines that you're interested on campus, right? A big part of our academic experiences on campus. So going back to Aaron, you know, we've talked about academics here on campus, and we've talked about, you know, some of the things that Alex and Joanna have gotten excited about during or through the open curriculum. But can we talk about the courses that students are taking during the summer program? And, you know, how are these courses designed so that they prepare OP students for when they start their you know, full-time careers as a Hamilton student?
Sure. Yeah. So during the summer, students will take 3 core academic courses. They'll take a math course, which fulfills the quantitative and symbolic reasoning requirement at Hamilton. They'll take a writing course. They will take a philosophy course. The philosophy course is designed to really be about engaging in discussions in class and being able to read college level articles and books, and being able to break it down and to have an engaged conversation in class. And then students will have the opportunity, for the first time ever, have the opportunity to seemingly pick their elective course during the summer. So by pick, I mean you get to rank them 1 through 4, and then we'll try to get you in your first 2 choices. But students can choose between government, geoscience, biology, and chemistry. And so you will be placed in one of those, and that'll be your 4th academic course. But wait, there's more. At Hamilton College, there's a physical education requirement in order to graduate. And so we actually have physical education during the summer. Woo! What's nice about it this year is I've made some adjustments in the past, and Alex can and Joanna can attest to it. So it used to be at like 7 o'clock in the morning. This year it's going to be in the late afternoon, early evening. You're welcome. It'll also fulfill the physical education requirements, so you won't have to worry about that. Unfortunately, or fortunately, depending on if you're a swimmer or not, the pool is under construction this summer. So in the past, there would be a swimming component. And if you pass the swimming component, then you wouldn't have to take the swim test that all students have to take during orientation. Or if you're not a confident swimmer, you can take swimming lessons. You have to pass that swimming test by the end of your junior year. So we have math, writing, philosophy, and then the elective, physical education. Then we have an oral communication workshop that takes place during weeks 2 through 4. As we mentioned earlier, oral communication is a really important skill for students. So our students are introduced to oral communication early on. We do some impromptu speeches at the beginning of the summer program, where you pick a card, you see the topic, you have about 30 seconds to come up with your 2-minute speech, and everyone goes through that process. You take the workshop, and then we end the summer. This year it's going to be a OP themed public speaking competition, because Hamilton, the Oral Communication Center, has a public speaking competition. So we'll have our inaugural OP public speaking competition champion. And then we have a what's called Routine for Learning, which is a study skills workshop series. And then we have campus psychology, which ends up being the most popular part of the summer program. It's co-taught by the director of the counseling department and the associate VP of student affairs. And students love it because there's no homework, and they can just kind of get things off their chest and learn about all the other things that happen at Hamilton during the academic year that we can't perfectly replicate during the summer. So when it's all said and done, when students successfully complete all the requirements of the summer program, they walk away. I see there's a question in the chat. They're like, wait, how much credit do we give for all these courses? So you get 1 credit, because typically for a credit, you have to do 15 weeks of material. We're cramming it in actually into like 4 weeks of summer. Classes are really going to be through weeks 2 through 5. So you get 1 credit, which sounds like maybe not enough considering you're taking 4 classes and whatnot, but you're not doing 15 weeks of material. If you add it all up, it adds up to be about 15 weeks of material, which is why it is 1 credit.
Awesome. Well, thank you for that breakdown, Aaron. I feel like it is exciting to think about starting your academic experiences in the open curriculum, but this is really, to help you acclimate to what that academic environment is like on our campus. So we want to make sure that all students are prepared to take on the open curriculum. And just going back to that, I know that there was a question in the chat about broader requirements for every student, such as, X amount of credits in social sciences, natural sciences, et cetera. But, within the open curriculum, that means that there are no core classes and there are no distributional requirements. So, open curriculum really is there to help you, think about what exactly is it that I want to study, right? We tell students that this is a place where you can study what you love and discover what you love. So all of those conversations navigating the open curriculum are going to be had, with your Alex advisors, your academic advisors. There's again, a lot of support, a lot of leverage for students to navigate a curriculum that is so flexible and freeing for a lot of our students. So thank you for that, Erin. So now going back to our student panelists, I know Erin had talked about, the breakdown of classes, there's a PE requirement. So there's a lot of things that we're preparing you for throughout your 4 years. For students, what other facilities on campus do you have access to during the summer? What kinds of buildings and spaces are you going to throughout those 4 to 5 weeks that students can get excited about?
Well, one thing that Aaron spoke to was like the physical education requirement, and that comes with full access to the gym, which is like an amazing athletic facility, like top notch. I was gonna say the pool, but I didn't know that it was under construction, which is really upsetting. But yeah, that's kind of, you'll get that in the fall. But you get to go to the library, and we actually meet with freshman research librarians, which is a really great opportunity to get to know the logistics of how research goes on at Hamilton, and how you could end up doing research here. Also just like academic buildings for study spaces, like you'll get to learn them as you go along, but like KJ, the Science Center, you get to learn where you enjoy studying.
Awesome. Joanna, anything to add?
Yeah, I mean, you named some amazing places. I'm just gonna name one of my favorite places that you mentioned, the Science Center. I love the Science Center. It's so beautiful. It's so new. It's like very modern. There's like glass windows. And so that's also a space that's available. And I am a huge supporter of that building, and I use it as a space for me to study as well. There are like these cute study rooms in the corner that everyone just wants. And if you want that study room, you better be up like at 7 or 8 a.m. Because everyone runs to those rooms. So I just wanted to add on to what Alex had mentioned about the building.
Yeah, and I can definitely attest to that. There is that one room in the Science Center where there's always somebody, right? Whether it's they're in there physically or their stuff is everywhere, right? People love to claim these spaces because they are, state-of-the-art facilities. And so we're just excited to welcome all of you onto our campus that I think, like everyone has said, is so beautiful and so gorgeous. All right, so my next question for some of our panelists, what was the biggest challenge you experienced during the summer program? We got a breakdown from Erin about, what kinds of classes we're taking, what are we expecting? But were there any challenges that you look back on that, you'd want students to know about before they enter the summer program?
Yeah, I think I'm trying to read, going back, it's so long, but I know like one of the big challenges for me was like I took classes that I didn't particularly like have a strong interest in, like I was very much a gov major. And I knew like that's just what I wanted to focus on. And so a challenge was like I want to be open to these classes, but also like I don't love them. I don't like them as much as I do with other courses. So I think the biggest challenge for me was really trying to be open to new classes and really working with those professors. And I'm just gonna name like math. I am the worst at math. I am not the best, and I will admit that. And that's why I struggled sometimes with those courses. But I think like the best thing that was like I got to meet people who were good at math, and I would work with them. And there were tutors during the summer who help you. I remember one of our tutors, he went to a classroom, he had a whole whiteboard ready to go. He was like, ask me any questions. And we would ask him questions like, we need help with this question. He would just work with us till night. And it was just like the most amazing thing ever. So like, yeah, there's a challenge of like, I don't like these classes, but there's also the opportunity where there's resources to help you and to really ensure that you're having a great time. You're not like struggling like you during this whole summer. Like that's not the purpose of the summer.
Yeah, totally. Again, lots of leverage, lots of support. Alex, have you had, or have you experienced like any challenges during your time in the summer program?
Yeah, I guess I'll speak to just like my experience of trying to become like a more active participant in the classroom. Cause like a fun fact is that I went to the largest public high school in the United States. So like it was pretty easy to like sit in the back and just kind of be like the quiet member of the classroom. But at Hamilton, like that really isn't the expectation. The expectation is that you are a present member in the discussion. You're able to contribute and ask questions, even if you don't know the answer to things. Like Joanna was saying, I'm also not the best at math, but I would still raise my hand. And even if I got it wrong, like it was fine. And learning to learn that that's fine. And just like becoming more active in the classroom.
Yeah, totally. And I think, as a college, right, we're really looking for curious learners, right? We're excited about those students who are excited for that journey of self-exploration and all that good stuff. So I think in this program, you really that's really the catalyst to the 4 years, right? What is it that, what kinds of challenges am I about to embark on? And, what kinds of community members or support can I find in this OP program that will set me up for that much more success as I navigate my 4 years? So I think Alex and Joanna said, although math is really hard, although there were some challenges, acclimating to a new academic environment, again, it really taught them how to be prepared for what it's really like to be a Hamilton student. So thanks for that, y'all. I'm going to direct this question specifically to Alex, because I know that, sometimes students coming into Hamilton, whether they're part of the OP program or not, are excited about athletics, right? They might be coming to Hamilton to be an athlete. So Alex, I know you're a member of the women's rowing team, and congratulations on the new boathouse. We're really, really excited for y'all. But can you talk about athletics on campus? What is it like being an athlete while also being in opportunity programs, and in general, not just during the summer? What is that student athlete experience like?
Yeah, well, I'm repping my rowing shirt right here, but I actually ended up walking on to the rowing team. So I did swimming for 12 years in high school. And then I was like, I wanted to switch things up. And Hamilton offers the opportunity for so many like athletic departments allow for walk-ons and stuff like that. So that was a really exciting experience. And a story that I actually love to share is that I learned how to row during HEOP. And that's because a sophomore staff member during the program taught us all how to row. Like if we were interested, I know like me and two of my friends were like, we want to become rowers. And he would literally wake up with us at 7 a.m. and go to the gym and teach us how to erg, which is like, just speaks to like the amazing qualities of like the tutoring staff here and how amazing people are at Hamilton. But yeah, student like athlete experience at Hamilton is quite a common one. We have a pretty large demographic of student athletes on campus. And I think that it's great to be an OP member and also student athlete, because you know that there's always somebody cheering you on. And, wherever you go, like if you see an OP alum or an OP scholar, they're always like, hey, Alex, like, how's the rowing going? And it's a nice like way to engage with your community.
Yeah, totally. And I love just hearing that story of the sophomore who helped you, because I think it reminds me that, a lot of students find OP in this program, as an opportunity to meet, other first years, right, for the first time before everyone joins us on campus. But you're also meeting upperclassmen who are going to be your friends when you do walk on campus. And it's really cool to be that first year who already knows a couple sophomores, right? I think that's really awesome, and that they've helped you find a new passion on campus. That's really, really cool. All right, so my next question is about, right, extracurriculars, is about campus life. Alex, you're a part of a lot. Joanna, you're a part of a lot. So, you seem to be very involved. How do you balance all of these activities along with the academics? We've talked extensively about open curriculum. You've introduced yourselves with the 5 or 6 organizations you're all a part of. So how do you balance all of the things you're doing as a Hamilton student?
Yeah, so I can start off. Google Calendar is my best friend. That is what helps me really organize everything. And it's especially helpful. I've moved on from a position as co-chair of a whole organization. And so now I'm like doing much more than I had expected to do. And so that comes with responsibilities. And so Google Calendar, I have my own planner that I make by myself. And I also use Notion, which is an application you can download on your phone or your laptop. And so those are the tools that I use to help me really balance out the chaos in my life. But also like, regardless, like not regardless, but like other ways that have helped me besides organizing is really reaching out to like, I know Aaron mentioned this, but like I go to his sometimes office just like randomly. I'm like, or like even just going to that space and like I need to talk or set up a meeting to really de-stress and really find ways, how do I get myself to be, obviously doing well in all these other clubs and organizations I'm part of, but also making sure that my mental health is top priority as well. So it's a mix of organizing, but also reaching out to resources and really like talking and sitting down and saying, I need a break, or how can I change the way I'm addressing this? So those are some of the ways that I have been able to organize everything.
Totally. Alex, how about you?
Yeah, I guess I'll preface with saying it gets so much easier over time and you get into the swing of things when you like build a routine, building the habits that you need to get all of your stuff done. I've actually found that having like the more booked Google Calendar helps me become more productive, because I feel like I'm more accountable for my time. Like if I know, hey, I have an hour lift in the morning and a 3-hour practice, and then I have a meeting for a student assembly. Like I have X amount of hours to do my work. And I know that in that time is when I have to get the work done. And that's a really good, like, I guess, structure that I've created for myself, because it just turns into like a positive feedback loop. When you are successful one day, you go in with that same momentum for the next day. And I really like how Joanna like mentioned the mental health aspect of it. Like the grind set is kind of challenging to tackle with. And I think that reaching out to your resources, taking care of the mental space as well as the academic space is really important.
Great. Yeah, totally. And I think that there's been this real push recently about, mental health and being able to prioritize that as a student, as a community member, right? We want to make sure that all students are healthy in every way. So that it definitely includes your mental space and your mental capacity. So thanks for talking about that. We've talked a lot about community, right? We've talked about a lot about how the BOP program really does set you with this community. It's a strong foundation that you really, use a lot throughout your 4 years. But for our students, how did you connect with other students that are not involved in OP? How did you find community members that are close to you outside of the program? Alex, do you want to start us off?
Sure. So I think that like one of the most obvious ones for me is just being on a team from my freshman fall. Immediately, you just get immersed into like a great team dynamic. But also Hamilton offers, I think it's more than 200 clubs, which is kind of insane. So I'm in the outing club and we do like hikes and like outdoorsy stuff. And it's really fun to connect with all of those friends. But in general, I think that like many of the friendships or most of the friendships that I made on campus are just through like classes, just getting to know people, speaking to people, sitting next to people, like walking down Martin's Way, which is like our like main walkway through campus. I've like never gone a day where I haven't waved like at least 2 times. Like you always see a friendly face, a familiar face, just from like seeing somebody in your class. So yeah.
No, that's so true, Alex. The fact that like I always walking down Martin's Way and there's absolutely at least 2 people that I say hi to, and I'm always waving. It's just like hi, you're going both different ways or the same way. I think another thing, no, a great way that I met people before was there's like Discord. I don't know if anyone knows Discord, but like that's the opportunity that some students in Hamilton use before coming to campus, and you meet friends there. Like Alex mentioned, like teams and clubs are also a great way to meet other people. That's where I've met one of my most of my closest friends through clubs and organizations. But also, like you take classes, and the more like you take classes that are more of your interest, you're gonna find people who have similar interests. So you find like those similar group of people who are gov majors or bio majors or any other major that you're interested in. Um, there's also always events happening on campus. And so you're probably maybe at a concert or something like a comedy show, and you sit to this random person, you end up talking about something and boom, you have a friend.
Yeah, it is as easy as that. And again, just going back to the C word community, right? It's felt in every asset of campus. And I think that's just a big part of students' reasoning as to why they love this school so much. So thank you to the both of you for that. I know we've mentioned location a little bit, right? I'm sure all of you know we're not in Manhattan, right? We are in Clinton, New York. Clinton is your small village. And so my question for our students is, some of our attendees tonight might not be familiar with the overall area, right? So how accessible are the surrounding areas? I'm thinking about Clinton, I'm thinking about New Hartford, I'm thinking about Utica, right? Can students bring cars to campus and access these places? Can we talk about just the surrounding area for a little bit?
Yeah, so unfortunately, as a first year, you cannot have a car on campus. That is a sad reality. But the beautiful thing is that, especially with the HEOP summer, you meet sophomores and juniors and seniors who do have cars. And so that is where connecting with other students is the best thing ever. I remember like knowing sophomores who were like, we have cars, you want to, go somewhere, text us, let us know. And they were tutors from the HEOP summer program. And so that's a way to get across these places. There's also, I know, like this bus that comes around on a campus, and I think it's like every hour or something. And it's like $1 to get on a bus, and you can go to the nearby mall, to get to those places. But I think the biggest thing is like you get to meet people who have cars or have access, and that's how you get to those places. So definitely, like the HEOP summer is a great thing for that.
Yeah, and like speaking to Clinton, it's just down the hill. So on like a really nice fall day or spring day, one time I did it in the winter and that was a mistake, but just walking down the hill and like getting a Utica coffee or just like having fun in like the Clinton Square is really nice. And we also have Jitney's, which is kind of like Hamilton's like free transportation service to Utica and New Hartford. And they're like these big blue vans and like you'll immediately recognize them once you come onto campus. But yeah, just like 2 weeks ago, I took a jitney down to bowling and had a little bowling night with my friends in New Hartford. So it's always really a great experience to go out and like engage with the local community.
Yeah, totally. And I'm so glad you mentioned the Jitney, Alex, because like Joanna said, right, we don't allow first years to bring cars onto campus. A lot of upperclassmen will bring their cars after their first year, but for students coming from the West Coast, for students coming from different parts of the country, and most likely will not bring a car to campus ever throughout their 4 years, the Jitney is really your best friend. I know students, I know staff, I know faculty who utilize the Jitney on a daily basis. So definitely free for all students and something that students have used to their advantage. So get excited about that. Going back to Aaron, we talked about a lot about the summer program. So what happens after the summer program ends? Do students stay on campus? Where are they living now? How does, opportunity programs assist in that transition before, that first year orientation when all the other first years arrive onto campus?
Sure. Yeah. So we're going to end the summer program with a celebration. Alex and Joanna are probably going to be jealous because they didn't necessarily have that, but we're going to have a celebration. The staff are going to help plan it. So we end on a really high note. Students at the end of the summer program. So we're going to end on August 6th, like classes end on the 5th, but like everyone will be able to go home if they want. You can go home, which some students do, especially if they live relatively close to campus. For students who are coming from further away financially, it probably doesn't make sense to purchase a plane ticket to fly back to Florida or California just to have to fly back to campus a week later. So students do have the ability to stay on campus until orientation begins. Actually, every student before they leave campus, they'll get to move into their fall housing assignment. Remember at the beginning, I said, like, you get your room before your roommate does. Like, that is a real perk. So staff will help students move belongings. We'll have vans that we can use to transport heavy items, and you'll move into your fall housing assignment. And if you're choosing to stay, and we'll find out that information during the summer program, we'll make sure you have access to a meal plan so that you can still eat in the dining hall. At that time, other people will start coming to campus, so you won't be alone. RAs will be coming to campus for training. Orientation leaders will be coming for training. Students in the writing center, athletes, the campus will start getting busy. So it's actually a really nice time to kind of like hang out, catch up on sleep, and start to meet some of your future classmates. And where we live, in a bunch of different places. So there's a lot of first year residence halls. Some of them are on what people call light side and dark side. And then there's also gray side, which is kind of like down the hill. Then I also created my own purple side, which is like the Glenview trailers, because I ended up there by accident one day. I'm like, yeah, this is definitely purple side. So you'll be in a bunch of different places, but you do get to move into your room before your roommate. And then our office is still open. We're available if you need us. I might go on vacation, but someone will be in the office in case you need it. But really, students just kind of hang out and catch up on sleep and play video games or watch Netflix, whatever they want to do until orientation begins.
Awesome. Thank you, Aaron. Thank you. Thank you. So I'm looking at our time. I know we do only have 10 minutes left, so I want to make sure that, we get to some of these last minute questions. But for the students, before we go into a quick lightning round, I would just love to hear, as a summer program alum, as an OP scholar, what did you learn about yourself, right? How has this specific experience impacted and prepared you for your experiences at Hamilton?
I guess like one of the major things that I learned was that I am like such a routine-based person, like absolutely attached to the hip to my Google Calendar. And the summer program is really a great place to discover those things about yourself before the semester really begins. And it's just a vital learning platform where you can see what you really are as a student in a college environment and how you're going to build those habits and build like productivity going into the next semester. And yeah, you're just being put like ahead of the game when other students might be playing catch up later on. And also it's like really great to know some sophomores and you like know the campus map like the back of your hand. And I remember talking with other freshmen here and they're like, how do you know everything? And I'm like, HEOP, the OP summer. Yeah.
Yeah, just like adding on to that, like not only like what works best for you in terms of routine, but also what type of student you are in classrooms. If that means, do you like classes that are in the morning? Are you a morning person? Are you more, a student who likes to take class in the afternoon? And also like, if that means if you're not the most, vocal person, maybe that means being in like the front row seats of the classroom, or, making sure that you're talking to the professor after class for office hours. So you really get to know one, like that works best for you in terms of like studying, but also what type of student you are in those classrooms. So I think that was a big thing for me. Like, what do I need? What did I learn about myself? And I was also very shy and timid when starting early on. I was like, I don't feel comfortable sometimes. So that meant for me, making sure I go to those office hours, my professors, and talking to them and telling them I'm here, I'm present, and I'm a student, and I'm here to learn and ready to go. And I think also another thing that in terms of preparedness, like I think Alex mentioned, is like you get to know the campus better than anyone else before everyone is here. So you get to tell all of your other friends, like, I know where this is. I know a cool place to go on campus. And that's a great thing. So yeah.
Awesome. Right. And I think the way Alex said it, right, you're going to be set up for that much more success, right? You're going to be ahead of the game. And it's exciting to see, our OP students really, take the skills that they've learned during those 5 weeks and really apply it to that first semester, to that first year, and just rock it, right? They really do such a great job of that transition. So thank you. That's all of our, big questions for tonight. I do want to end with, some lightning round questions, and then we'll end with a final question. But these lightning round questions are really supposed to be less than 10 seconds responses. I'll ask all of you to just quickly answer. But again, we'll keep this quick. And I'm just going to start calling on people. So get ready, Aaron, Alex, Joanna. First question, favorite Hamilton tradition? Alex, start us off.
I love when the food trucks come to campus and I get to try all of the local food.
All right, Joanna, what about you?
My favorite tradition is more reserved for seniors, but to look out for. It's called Strawberries and Champagne, where we celebrate Feb and women identify people who identify as women, and we just celebrate them in their graduation. You get strawberries and champagne as it is.
Awesome. Aaron, what about you? Favorite Hamilton tradition?
I didn't really get to experience it this year, but I was really jealous when students were telling me about all the things they did. Feb Fest.
Great one. All right, next one. Favorite thing to eat on campus? Aaron, throwing it back to you. Favorite thing to eat on campus?
Coffee.
Awesome. Alex, favorite thing to eat on campus?
I go for diner, Beyond Burger, provolone cheese, a pickle on the side, and some fries.
Oh, I've had the Beyond Burger. So yummy. So good. Joanna, favorite thing to eat on campus?
Diner, and it has to be the mozzarella sticks. They always go.
Okay, I'm gonna switch my answer. Mozzarella sticks are definitely the best thing at the diner. Great, great, great. Okay, thank you for that quick lightning round. Final question for tonight for all of us. We'll do Joanna, Alex, and then Aaron end us off. Now being removed from the college decision-making process, right? Y'all have gone through the application process. You've done your thing. What would you tell these students who are thinking about choosing Hamilton? A number of our students here joining us tonight are still making their decision. So what would you have told your 16, 17, 18-year-old self, in this process? Alex, do you want to start us off?
Sure. And I think that the college decision process is obviously really personal, but for me, choosing Hamilton was my first choice, and it's definitely a decision that I'll make over and over again. And I think that if you went along campus and just polled everybody and said, like, what's your number one reason for coming to Hamilton? I think that the biggest answer would probably be the people. And that was really what it did it for me. And it topped my charts. And for the community, I know we call this little Hamily, and it really is. It's just having that community and having a friendly face everywhere really breaks it or makes it, and it made it for me.
Love to hear it. Love to hear it. Joanna, what about you?
I also have to go with the small community and the fact that like you always go by Martin's Way knowing someone and you'll never feel like you don't know anyone at all. There's always someone there in the corner.
Yeah, no, totally. And I think, right, when you're in the process, you want to think of this space as home, right? This is going to be your home for the next 4 years. And the biggest thing about home is having that family, having that community. So I'm just so happy to hear that, 2 of our OP students have found that community and have found this to be a place that they can call home. Erin, what would you tell these students as they're in the process of making this final college decision? What would you have told yourself when you were going through this process?
I would tell myself that you have to make the decision for yourself. For a lot of students, there's a lot of outside pressure from family, from college counselors, from friends. Maybe you have a partner and you want to go to the same school as them. You have to make the decision for yourself because college is hard. And college isn't hard necessarily because the classes are hard. College is hard because you're doing it and there's a lot of stuff going on outside with friendships and relationships and home situations, right? College is hard. You want to make sure you're at an institution that you wanted to be at so that when it does get hard, you don't question if you made the right decision. So it can be challenging, but make the decision that is right for you.
Yeah, that's a great piece of advice. And that's definitely something I'm going to take because I know a lot of students would benefit from just hearing, right? This is your journey. This is your decision. And so make sure that you're prioritizing yourself. We love, thinking about our families and our friends and knowing that this is a journey that your family and friends will also join you in, but this really is your journey. So yes, prioritize yourself, like Erin said, and thank you to all of our panelists for answering all of those great questions. I had such a great time tonight, and I'm so grateful to have the 3 of you join us and talk to all of our admitted students. Thank you to the admitted students, along with future members of the class of 2026. Like I said, I know a lot of you are joining us in the summer and in the fall, so just thank you for joining us. We hope you have learned more about the community inside the opportunity programs. If you have any further questions, please feel free to email them to admission@hamilton.edu so that we can answer your questions. But also check out hamilton.edu/explore for future virtual events that we're having. I know we had questions about res life and dining halls. We have an event this Thursday actually that you can sign up for. So hopefully we'll see you there, but definitely hamilton.edu/explore. Great resource for you. I hope all of you have a good rest of your night. Enjoy the rest of your week and stay safe out there. Okay.